Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and assalamu alaikum to my Muslim community. I am coming live from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on, I think it's Wednesday, October 5th, 2022. It's about 11:20 at night. I've been thinking about this video for a week because I couldn't decide if it was part of Self-Care Sunday or Business Fundamentals, but it's part of both. So let's get right to the information. And this is failure to plan is planning to fail. Like I said, I start with goals. I don't know what I would do with myself if I didn't have goals. And as I became an adult, I found out very quickly that adults don't have goals. And that was a little odd to me because growing up, you have goals of go to school, get good grades, get into a good college so you can get a good job, and then work their job for 40 years, retire and die. That's not going to work for me. That is not going to work for me. So I set on my journey to find different goals than going to work and dying. That's no fun. I spend too much time at work in a job that's not making me happy and that's not fulfilling and killing me. So hypertension is real, and I found out that my job was stressing me out. So in that plan of life of go to school, get a good job so you can retire and die, where's wealth? What's the wealth equation? So, I'm really excited that I found this book. This is the current book, Buy This, Not That. I'm excited because it starts off, I think, on chapter 2. It says, do the math and the plan will come. You have to plan for wealth. It can't be something that you just going to think about on the side. I'm now 49 years old and I do these videos so my children can plan for wealth. And when I say my children, I'm talking about the next generation. I'm talking about all our kids. Sam Dogen, he is the author of the book, Asian American, came from overseas where life is a little bit more challenging, and adjusted to the American way and was making a lot of money. And he came across the FIRE movement, and the FIRE movement is financial independence, retire early. Sam was making $150,000 a year and realized he didn't need $150,000 to live. So he downsized and saved his money. And out of his experience, he started a blog and writes about how you can become wealthy. And anybody can do it. So I'm excited about that. Now, Sam comes from Wall Street, and he integrates numbers into this. So, this is my world. And what Sam said is that everybody should shoot for a net worth of 20 times their income, which means it's not based on money. It's based on income. So income is the driver to tell you what your net worth should be. So everybody's net worth is different. So if you're making $30,000 a year, then your net worth should be $600,000 by the time you retire. I love that. Now, not only does Sam tell you that, Sam breaks it down on page 16 in this nice little chart. He tells you where you should be based on your work experience. At 3 years of work experience, your net worth should be half your multiple of income. So let's just say you make $50,000. With 3 years in, you should have a net worth of $25,000. You don't have to spend all the money that you get. And that's important because that's how I got here. My mom was adamant about me living beneath my means. Just because you have the money doesn't mean you have to spend it. So the FIRE movement is all about living beneath your means. And you can do that at any income, but you have to save something. Now, I'm not a big saver, but I bought a house and I allowed the house to be the savings for me. I'm still not a big saver, but I'm working on that. So let's look at me, for example. I have about 23 years of experience. So my multiple of income at my stage of life should be 13 times my income. I should say my multiple for net worth should be 13 times my income. So for 50,000, I should have a net worth of $650,000. Do I? No. And that's why I'm working so hard to pay off my student loans, because that's driving down my net worth. Now, Sam also says, if you have enough passive income to pay off your annual expenses, then you've achieved financial freedom regardless of income. You want your passive income to drive your freedom. So your net worth has to translate to passive income at some point. And that means you can be financially free at any age. Now, it's important for our kids to know this, because the earlier they start, the easier it's going to be. It's harder for me because I'm older, so retirement age is just 10 years from now. And retirement age is anytime one plans for that retirement age. Retirement age doesn't have to be when Social Security starts. Retirement age is when passive income exceeds expenses, just point blank. So we can decide when we retire. Isn't that wonderful? We can plan our own lives and not follow the script of getting a good job and working till we retire and die. What kind of script is that? That's not a script that's going to work for me. And I think it's a script that makes many people unhappy, but they don't know they can write a whole new script. So I make these videos so we can write a whole new script. So the purpose of income is much further than eating, sleeping, wearing some clothes, and going to work. I like Sam Dogen's plan to set financial goals, but you have to plan those financial goals. You have to think about them and say, how am I going to get there? After buying my house in Maryland, it was a townhouse. I paid like $120,000 for it. When I sold it 2.5 years later, it was worth $160,000. Right now, it's worth $330,000. So I started getting involved in real estate. But I said, I wanted freedom now. I wanted freedom because I had 3 young children and I wanted to be there for them. So my next house was $40,000. Now, I was putting sweat equity in there and I'm still doing that. But just because the loan officer says you can afford this much house doesn't mean you have to take it. So the less you spend, the more money you have to reinvest in something else. Now, I might not be a saver, but I know about living beneath my means. So I'm still living beneath my means so that I can pay down the student loan debt. Because as far as Sam says, I'm about 5 years behind where I should be in order to retire when I want to. And I want to retire within 3 years. So that means my passive income must pay all my expenses within the next 3 years. So that means I got some work to do. Now, I'm going to read a little section of the book. Just a small section. Sam writes, if you can manage to live off what's left each month after saving 50% of your after-tax dollars, it will mean that each year you save is 1 year of living expenses. If you can get to a 70% savings rate, then each year you save provides for 2 years of living expenses and so forth. At the very minimum, please save 20% of your after-tax income. At this rate, it will take 4 years to save 1 year of living expenses. So how can young people do that? Very easy. All they got to do is live at home or share an apartment, buy something cheap. So they could be on the path to wealth 20, 21, 22. And I didn't understand that I was on that path when the real estate agent said you will be wealthy, and I was buying my first house at the age of 22. She said that because I was looking at the long term, not the short term. So if we want a wealthy community, we have to give our children guidelines and a plan. But the plan has to be more than get a good job, make some money, work for 40 years, retire, and die. If that's the plan, we're setting them up to fail because we're not giving them the tools to become wealthy. So as I look at what's going on with me right now, every year I say, just one more year. I'll live beneath my means for one more year. I think I'm going on year 7 now. I thought this would be the breakout year, but it's not. And every September I say this, one more year. I thought it was going to be the breakout year because all my kids that I'm responsible for are out of high school. But it's not going to be this year because I still haven't given them the plan besides get a good job, retire, and die. So right now, I got 2 that I have to instill wealth building values so they can live beneath their means like my mother taught me. Maybe next year. Inshallah. Maybe next year. So I'll say my annual statement. Just one more year. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon.